Okay, so I'm going to bring in the photo of the model of the kid that I wanted to use that looked somewhat like the photo used in the cover art. I'm going to use the magic wand tool to highlight around my subject. And then I'm going to copy and paste him into a new layer. Using Control-Shift-A, you pull up the camera raw. So I'm going to bring the blacks and the shadows way far down and the whites and highlights up. That way it's a super contrasty photo. I'm going to duplicate this image, and on the lower image, I'm going to double click, pulling up the layer styles, and I'm going to click color overlay, and I'm going to go with a dark red, one that matches the cover art. Now on the top layer, you want to change the blending mode to linear burn, and then you want to select both of those layers, right click, and then combine the layers into one layer. Now I'm just hitting Control-Shift-A again to bring up the camera raw, and this one I'm going to bring the exposure up, the shadows down, and the whites up. That way it's extremely contrasted. I'm using the direct selection tool to highlight the background image. I'm going to inverse the selection, go to Filter and Contract. I'm going to contract it about by 2. And then I'm going to flip the selection inverse again and then hit backspace or delete to get rid of those white lines around the head and the body. I'm duplicating the layer, and on the top layer I'm going to add just a little bit of Gaussian blur. That way it gives it an old photo feel. I noticed in the cover art the background had a little bit of a directional blur, so let's apply that. So now I'm going to combine those two images into one layer, and I'm just going to go erase the super dark parts and leave the white parts, so that way there's no in-between colors, or it looks like there's no shading. It's just black and white coloring, or red and black. So now on top of both layers, I'm going to create a shape layer, just a simple black shape, kind of a tall rectangle. And then I'm going to double click on my rectangle layer and go to stroke. And I found, looks like 4 was a good thin stroke of the red. Now I'm going to turn this layer's blending mode to lighten. So I'm going to use Control-T or transform to bring the subject's face a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to go around our new little red box outline and delete the part of the subject that goes over those lines. Adding in the text, I'm using the Trueno font bold. It's a font I really like, and it matched the font of the cover art. I'm changing up the verbiage a little bit. So this one's called Florgia TIS. So it looks the same, it's just a different text. So you want to use Control-T, rotate, and transform. That way the F matches up with the bottom line and the L matches up with the top line. So you want to duplicate that text layer, and then you want to rasterize that new text layer. And once it's rasterized, I use my selection tool to cut off half of the text and then bring it below the Florida text. I'm going to turn the opacity down to 60, and I'm going to duplicate this layer again and kind of do the same process, turning the opacity down a little bit more and more. So using the same font family, I'm going to add in where he has Smokepurpp, I'm going to put on Smalley Blue. I'm going to change this to extra bold or black. That way it's extremely bold to match the style of the cover. So I'm going to create a new layer for the face tattoos, and we're going to match Smokepurpp's tattoos. He's got a star on one of his cheeks and a bullseye on his forehead or temple area. And now just adding the little heart on his cheekbone and then coloring it in. So after drawing the tattoos, I'm grabbing their layers and I'm adding a little bit of a blur. That way it matches the background layer or the background image. So now we're going to add a little bit of a noise feel to kind of tie it all together. So I'm creating a new shape layer on top of everything. I'm right clicking and rasterizing that layer. And then I'm going to turn the noise about 30%. And then I'm going to go back to adjustments layer and turn on black and white. That way there's no color noise, it's just black and white noise. So then you want to turn the blend mode to screen. So the image is almost there. You can kind of see it all come together. So right now I'm just going to duplicate all those layers and then right click and merge all those layers so it's just one flattened image, but I'm still keeping all my bottom work layers below just in case. I just want to play around with the reds a little bit, so I'm going to go pull up channel mixer and bring the reds down a little bit. And there's the final image. How to create the new Lil Pump Smokepurpp Off My Chest cover. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. I plan on showing people more how to create cover art, famous cover art, or even just simple cover art. Let me know in the comments if I could have done anything better or changed up anything. Thanks again.